Okay. So as Lynn said, I am from FireLogic. FireLogic, if you're curious, is a technology company that I started back in 2010. It's based right out here in Park Ridge. We have an office we just moved into, just past the Pickwick, whichever way that is, from here. One of the last office buildings before you hit Chicago. And we started off just doing computer repair, doing things for residential customers, helping you in the home. We still do that today. It's still, part of our bread and butter, but, we do a lot of commercial consulting now. We do a lot with school districts, nonprofits, so we're in a little bit of everything today, all across the board. We have a team now of 9 people on my staff, and we're growing steadily. So if you do need any computer repair help at the home on anything Gmail, or you have viruses on your machine, feel free to call us. Our contact info is right on the back of the agenda. We're very cost effective, very affordable, and we have a special discount just for library patrons that come to our classes. So that's all on the back of the agenda for you, okay? If you're curious why I should be the one up here training on Gmail, I've been using this product for quite some time. Not only have I been using it for my personal email since I was back in high school, that was since 2004, but I used to work for Maine South High School, District 207, and I helped them with their transition to Gmail and Google Apps and the whole Google ecosystem, so I was there when that happened. We were the largest high school district in the state of Illinois to make that switch a few years back. And that finished up about 2011, and I left Maine 207 last year to work on my company full time. And my company's been moving companies and nonprofits over to Google Apps since about 2011 now, so we've been doing a lot with Gmail, and I want to share some of this knowledge that we've been gaining over the past few years with you, so you can go home and use this great email service instead of using AOL or some of these other subpar systems still out there today. I just wanted to mention really quickly, we do quite a bit of classes here in the local area. We've got a lot of neat classes that we're doing up and through late November this year. Obviously, you're here for our Gmail class today. We're going to be doing a class on the Google Apps ecosystem. We're going to be doing one focused on how you can use Google Apps in your personal life, things for the home, things for the family, and we're going to be doing that's actually the chair I'm going to be sitting in, so you might have to, here, let me,
that other one. There's one out in the hall.
If we need more chairs, I'm sure we could pull some more from somewhere. So we're going to be doing Google Apps for how you can use it in your personal life, as well as Google Apps. Take that one out. I'll take this
I got one right here. Okay. We just have to find some more. Here's one for you, Derek.
Okay.
Like that.
And then we're going to be doing a Google Apps class on how you can use it for your professional life. If you have a small business or you work at a company and you want to leverage some of the tools for that, we'll have a class that's specifically dedicated to how you can use it for that. We just did an Android tablet class about a month ago. It was very successful. We had a full house for that, and we're going to be redoing that class a little bit later this year. We're doing a class on the new Office 2013, showing off some of the new aspects of what Microsoft has put into that product. Lindsay's our resident expert on a product called Podio. It's a new cloud piece of software that you can use for pretty much anything that you want to do in life, from organizing notes to organizing your tasks to creating a recipe area to store your recipes. You can do so many different things with it. We use it for our business, but I also use it for my personal life. So the Podio class will be going out at the Niles Library later this year. And then Windows 8.1 is going to be out, which is the update to the Windows 8 that came out October of last year. All of our Windows 8 classes are full house, sold out all the way. So if you want to get in on Windows 8, you definitely have to pre-register early for that one, since those are very, very popular for all the people that come to our classes. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to use Gmail, but people are already asking me, why should I use Gmail? And I want to make the case for you of why this is a better product. And again, it doesn't cost you anything, so I'm telling you why this free service is better than the other free services out there. So first off, Gmail has arguably the best spam filter on the planet. If you're plagued with a lot of spam in your current email system, AOL's bad, Yahoo's bad, Hotmail has been very bad. All these services, they don't have great spam filters, so you're wading through all this junk email that's coming in all the time. Google solved that problem. They have created one of the most advanced spam filtering services in their system, and the same functionality that they provide paid business customers is the same one that powers their free consumer level service. So there's no reason not to take advantage of it. Going along with that, it's the safest email experience as far as I'm concerned. All the phishing messages that are out there, people trying to sell drugs and all the other junk over email, Google filters that before it gets to you, tries to get rid of as much as it can, and anything that it thinks still has infected links or places going to illegal shopping stores or things like that on the web, it's going to warn you in big red letters in the service. So they're very, very security conscious, and that's why I feel if you've been plagued with viruses on your machine from email that's infected you, there's no better choice than Gmail. They also offer the most storage space of any other provider out there. I think AOL is like 1 gigabyte of space, Hotmail might be 2 or 3 gigabytes. Gmail gives you 15 gigabytes of email space. You can store all of your large messages with pictures and all the other things attached to it, and you'll never have to delete them. It's at 15 gigabytes right now, and it's usually growing. They tend to increase it a little bit every 6 to 12 months or so. So as your storage needs keep getting higher, Google's going to keep increasing the cap for you. So they're very nice about that. I'm going to show how this works. Email through conversations. Gmail's different because as opposed to most services that list out every single email you get line by line by line, Gmail has created a different experience that allows you to work in conversations that you have with people. That's how we use email today. We don't use emails for the one-off messages. We're most of the time having conversations with people back and forth, and they've created a way to sort through that and have that organized in a manner that is cleaner than just jumbling everything into an inbox for you. All mobile devices work perfectly fine with Gmail. I use an Android device. I have people on my staff that use iPhones. I used to use a BlackBerry. I know Windows Phone works just fine with it as well. So any kind of mobile device or tablet that you may have, an Android tablet or an iPad, you can use Gmail on almost anything today. So it's very versatile, very flexible. They have a neat thing called Labs, which we're going to hopefully have some time to get to. So I can show off some really neat stuff that Google is sort of playing with. And there's sort of experimental features that you can try out. Some of the things are neater than others, but again, these are neat options and things you can play with that the other services just don't offer. And as I said, I think I made the point pretty clear, is that it's always continuously getting better compared to some email services that, what you see is what you get for the next 5 years. Google is always changing. And it makes it a little tough because putting this class on is very difficult. I have to actually go through and spend about an hour of time going through my material for this class to make sure I wasn't teaching on old things. So the service does change very often, very frequently. And it's usually incremental changes. It's not like they're going to overhaul the whole system on you in one night. But they are making good improvements that's making the service easier, safer, and just faster for everyone to utilize. So everyone should have an agenda sheet, front and back. If you don't have one, raise your hand and Lynn will go ahead and get you a copy. The reason that we always hand out an agenda at our classes is because people like to follow along, obviously, with what we're talking about. And if you have any notes or things that you want to jot down, either for yourself or a question that you might want to ask me a little bit later today, of course, feel free to raise your hand as we're going along. You can ask as I'm presenting. If it's something drawn out, I ask you to wait till the end so I can more answer you one-on-one if it's something more personal. But I encourage conversation. I love hearing the questions and things that you're frustrated with or have a concern about. So there's pretty much five big sections that I'm going to go over today in the class. Interface basics, so sending and receiving email and Gmail. I'm going to assume that the majority of people are brand new to Gmail, so even if you've used Gmail, you know a little bit about it and you're waiting till section 3 or 4 to learn about the advanced things, please bear with us. Understand that there are people of all skill levels here in the room today, and we're here catering always to the lowest common denominator. So if there's something that you know about already, just wait till we get a little further on, and there will definitely be some nuggets for you in this class. I'm going to go over how Gmail handles organizing email. It's always a big question that customers have for us. How to manage your contacts in Gmail, your address book that you want to keep. Chat functionality. If you've used Gmail any, you've probably seen its integration with Google+, which is the alternative to Facebook, and they have a very neat, powerful video conferencing capability that's completely free called Hangouts. It's built right into Gmail now, so you don't have to go anywhere else to use it. You can chat with people with IM, you can do video chat, voice chat, and you can even call phones directly from your Gmail for at no cost. So it's very, very powerful, all at zero cost for you. We'll have a little Q&A at the end. And I'm going to go off and I'm going to show the settings area as well in Gmail, just to give you an overview of where you can change some of the options that they offer. And then if we have time, I'm going to go over the Gmail Labs functionality that they have in the service. All right, so let's get started here. Just by show of hands really quickly, I just want to see how many people do use Gmail? Who has Gmail already and you've used it? And people that have used Gmail for more than a year?
Almost.
Okay, so most of us are in here are relatively can be called.
But I don't know how to use it.
You don't know how to use it. Well, hopefully by the time you leave, you'll
Okay.
have a little more information on the service. And as I said, we are recording this whole session, so this will be up on our YouTube channel come about. It's about Tuesday right now, so by the end of the week, and also if you provided your email when you signed up, it'll be sent directly to you by the library. So you will have that link sent over to you, and you can watch this whenever you want. We don't take these videos down ever. All right, let's get going. So first things first, for those that don't use it yet, I want to show you how you can make yourself an account. We don't have computers here like we have in some of the previous Gmail classes, so you can't sign up for an account right now. But very simply, all you have to do, and if you want to write this down, all you have to do, I actually put it on the agenda, item 1A, gmail.com. It's as simple as that. This is where you're going to make yourself a new account, and this is where you're going to sign yourself in anytime you want to get into your email account. So I already made an account. If you want to make one, on the upper right-hand side of the screen, there's a Create an Account area, and you just click on that. It'll ask you about 10 questions or so. Make your email address, make your password, and a few other things, and it'll take you right into your new email account. I already have a test email account, so I'm going to log into this. Let me get my laser pointer so I can show everyone all the areas. Okay. So the basics about the Gmail interface. How does Gmail look? How does Gmail work? It's a fairly simple interface. Again, if you're coming from another service like AOL, there might be a little bit of a learning curve for you, but it's laid out in a very nice and clean manner, and everything's organized fairly well, so you will pick it up pretty quickly as long as you give it a try. First off, on the left-hand side, we have a little drop down here that you can use, that you can change between your Gmail, your inbox area, and you can change between your contacts. And your contacts area is your address book. We'll go over that a little bit later. On the left-hand side, going down a little further, we have our compose button. That's how we're going to make new messages. Going down further, we have our organization tree. I think they call this the left-hand menu. And over here, this is where we have our main areas, like our inbox you can go to, emails that are marked as important, your sent mail, any drafts you have, your trash can, and if you expand it, you'll have things like all mail, your spam folder. So pretty much, you can think of it, any part of your filing cabinet that you want to get to for Gmail, it's going to be on the left-hand side somewhere. So that's all you have to look for. And sometimes things get hidden. Google likes to hide things by default to make it nice and clean and shorter. If you have a lot of labels, as they're called, they're not called folders in Gmail, they're called labels, and I'll go over that difference in a little bit. So on the left-hand side, those are all organized in this area, and I'll show you how to make labels for yourself so you can organize your email in a concise manner, however you want to do so. In the middle of the screen over here, this is where we have our message area. So newest messages are always shown at the top, oldest messages at the bottom. And if you have more than 50 messages at a time, it's going to take you to a second page. So over here is where you have your page buttons. You can go left and right. My personal Gmail account is about 34,000 messages already since I've been using it since '04. So I have quite a few pages to scroll through if I want to view it like a book. But you can definitely do so. This I will go off and show once we go over the Labs section. This is a Labs feature called Preview Pane that allows you to turn Gmail into a sort of Outlook. If you've used Outlook at your work and you're comfortable with that kind of split screen or horizontal screen interface, you can turn that on in Gmail. You definitely can use that, and I'll show that off towards the end of the class. Any settings that you want to get to. Right over here, the settings gear. That is the main hub for getting to any of the options within your Gmail account. And not only Gmail. Remember, Google makes these services fairly universal. So if you're in Google Drive or Google Calendar, you will generally find one of these settings gears in there. So it's not like you have to relearn the wheel in order to find out where the options are. And if you click on the settings gear and you click on settings over here, that's how you get into the settings area. And I'm going to hopefully show that off towards the end of the class for us. And I decided to have this on the right-hand side. This is the chat area. I don't know what they exactly call the chat pane or the chat area where you can see all of your Gmail contacts. And this is where you can see anyone that has any kind of Google account. So any Gmail user or anyone that uses Google apps at their place of work, you can see those people listed right over here. You can tell whether they're online, and you can chat with them. And we're going to go over a little bit of that in section 4 when we get to that area a little bit later. And at the top, I almost forgot, this over here, this is our search bar right over here. And this search bar is just as powerful as Google.com because, as I'm going to show you, it's a lot easier to search for emails than it is to try to find them by going page by page by page and sorting through all your messages. And I'm going to show you why search is so powerful when we get to section number 2. I'm going to show you how searching works. I almost always search for messages I never, even though I do use labels to dump my emails into, I almost never go in and manually find them. I'm always searching for messages. It's just so much easier for me. So making a new message, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this since most of us have probably sent an email in the past, but if I wanted to make a new message, all I have to do is click on the big red Compose button on the upper left-hand side, and it's going to bring up the new message window. Now, if you've had Gmail and you're using the service already, you may not have been changed over to this new interface. This new box-style interface is relatively new. Gmail introduced it, I'd probably say about 2-3 months ago, and they're sort of pushing everyone into it. But if you have a Gmail account that's been active for longer than that, you may have the full screen, the full window, Compose window. So I'm going to show off the new window since this is what everyone's going to have in just a few months. And if you make an account today, this is what you're going to have by default as well. So very simply, if I want to make a new message, I'm going to fill out my to area. Of course, I need to put in a proper email address. If you've mailed someone already once before, that person's name is going to show up in your address list. So I believe if I've emailed myself, my company account, so as soon as I start typing W, my last name, or if I started typing my first name, I'm going to show up in there because I've already talked to that person myself. So I'm in my own address book. I've been saved in the frequent contacts already. So after you've sent a message to one person one time, it's not like you have to remember their email. You'll be able to just type in their name, type in their email, and Google's smart enough to find out who that is and give you some options so you can send an email to that person. I believe if I start typing FireLogic, it might not work, but I know I sent a message to myself. I know that, so that's in there already. If I wanted to go ahead and add a CC or BCC, all I do is click on the options on the right-hand side. So they're turned off by default because most of the time we're not adding that many people to an email. But if you need them, it'll open the option up, and you can add them in as CC or BCC options. Now, a CC is a carbon copy for those that don't know. A carbon copy is someone that's getting if you had a 2-piece carbon sheets of paper, the carbon is the copy that the person that is in the CC field gets. A BCC is for when you want to send something out and you don't want the original person in the to or CC line to see that these people got it. So it's a sneaky way to send a message that someone has to see, but you don't want the original intended party to be able to know that they got it. So it's like sending the same letter to 2 people, and I don't know how to describe it.
Second name is not listed.
The second name's not listed, exactly. So it's an invisible send.
Like to yourself. So.
To yourself, yes, you can do that to yourself as well, definitely. So the subject line, very simple. Fill out a subject for yourself. And this is the body of the message over here. This is where we're going to put information right over here for ourselves. Whatever we're putting into the body of the email, it's the meat of the letter. It's actually what we're telling the person or the other party. And I can do a lot of different things with that area. I can use all these different formatting options that are available at the bottom here. So if I scroll my mouse over, see how it's hidden by default? All these options sort of expand for me. I can go ahead and I can insert smileys for myself if I wanted to. You can get really crazy with some of the things they have over here. You can insert links if you want to send someone to a particular web page. This is how you insert photos. So if you wanted to go ahead and take a picture off your computer or copy a link from a website, like a news website, a news article, you had a cool photo you want to show someone, you can right click on it, do copy image location, paste it in here, and you can send an email with that picture instead of downloading it to your computer first. So it's very nice and easy in that regard. Attachments, if I wanted to include an attachment, I just click on this little paperclip icon and it'll find what item you're looking for. So that's the paperclip icon. That's pretty common in email systems, so that should be pretty familiar for most people. If you're using Google Drive, I'm not going to go over Google Drive, but Google Drive is an online cloud document storage service from Google where you can attach Word files and Google Doc files, things like that. We did a few classes on Google Docs, Google Drive. You can find that on our YouTube channel on the agenda. And over here, if I wanted to format my text, I can highlight it and click on the little A. And when I do so, it brings up all the normal formatting options. Now in the old Gmail, this used to be right up on the screen when you were making a new message. Now they sort of hidden it. You know, Google's trying to get all hip and make things all Apple-like, so they've hidden that for us. So when we scroll over that, now we can change what kind of font we're using. I can increase my text size for myself. I can go ahead and change text color, background color. So you can really get creative with what you're trying to do. I can align it to the middle of the page. All kinds of different things. Insert quotes. So.
And how do you get that bar to come up?
That bar comes up as long as you have your cursor over by text in the body of the email. That area is going to show up for you. So if I take that back, you actually have to click on it one time, and it'll bring up the bar for you, and it'll stay up for you. Stay up indefinitely. If I click on it again, it'll go away. So it's a toggle switch. This over here? This is just a scroll over with your mouse. So if I move my mouse here, watch what happens. Whoop. Go away. There it goes. So it's all automatic for you.
And your spell check?
Spell check is actually a little hidden, and spell check is all the way on the bottom right-hand side of the email. Little arrow. Click on that, and there's a check spelling option over here. Okay? There's a few other things you can do here. You can print out the email that you're writing right now. You can go ahead and attach a label to it, and we're going to go over labels in a little bit. And this you can go ahead and switch back to the old interface for Gmail. I'm not going to recommend it because this is going to be what everyone's going to be forced to use in a few months, so I don't recommend getting used to the old interface. You might as well learn the new one for yourself. But it has the same functionality as the old one. It's just a little more streamlined for us. And as soon as I was all set with that, I can go ahead and send off the message, and it will get saved in my sent items. So it'll show up for me there. And I actually did a few emails back and forth with my work email account just to get some emails in here so we have something to work with, and I can show off how conversations work and all those things.
When you compose and you don't know the person's you might not have them in your book.
Okay.
Is there an address book right there that you can?
Yes, there is. Yeah, so if you don't know who it is, you can actually go ahead and click on the two, and it'll bring up your entire address book, and you can search for people then within your address book. So I have Lindsay in there already. So if I wanted to go. So there, and here's a difference. I don't want to get too far into context right now, but all contacts is all of your people that you've emailed once off in the past. Those are called frequent contacts. And then you have your more formal address book, which is my contacts. Those are the ones that you specifically put in there. That's your address book, the people that you actually wanted to have in there. So if I go into all contacts, it shows myself, and it shows Lindsay. I put her in as a formal contact in my address book.
Does it show you the groups or that you create?
This will show you. If you have groups, it will show you those different groups as well.
Are they integrated or are they separate?
They are. It would be integrated if you had a group. Yes.
I don't like that.
No.
That's what happened to Outlook. You know, Hotmail.
Uh-huh.
You used to be able to see all yours.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid.
Yeah. Well, you know, they have to change a few things. Sometimes things are for the better, sometimes for the worse. But you know, hopefully it'll change back to how you like it at some point in the future. So that's making a new message for ourselves. I showed off the formatting toolbar, how to attach files. A quick note on attaching files. This is a big thing that people call me about and ask, hey, I was trying to send all these pictures off to my family and they never made it there. And I ask them, well, how many pictures did you attach to the email? Oh, about 6, 7, 8 pictures. Lo and behold, we go in and find out how big those were, and we had about 12, 13 megabytes or larger worth of attachments. Gmail only allows up to 10 megabytes worth of attachments. So 10 megabytes are about 10 floppy disks worth of attachments. I usually tell people, because you don't know what the other side's email system is going to allow, I say keep it to 5 megabytes or less. You'll safely know that the email will get there and not get rejected. Because if you're emailing someone with a cryptic email system at their work, or maybe they use an AOL and the limits are a lot lower, that message might get kicked back to you, or the person may never receive it. It might just get filtered out as a junk email. Some systems do that. So that's why I say best practice is keep your attachments to 5 megabytes or less. If that means sending 2 emails to the person, you'd much rather do that than find out that it gets bounced back a day later because it was too big. Okay? I can show it off really quickly. I showed off where the button was for attachments, but yes, if you want to attach a file, it's right over here. If I click on that, it'll ask me what do I want to attach to it. If I wanted to go ahead and attach this little file, let's see, a quick little thing I can attach here. This text document over here, it'll show me a progress bar of it attaching, and it'll just be stacked over here, one attachment after the other. If I find out, hey, I don't want it on my email, just click on the X, it'll get rid of it for you. Yep, little paper clip here. And if you roll over, it'll tell you attach files.
And then what? Attach files.
Attach files, and then I would, if I had my email message ready to go, I would just hit send, and it would send the message off to the person. So that's how I would send off an attachment of a Word document or a spreadsheet or recipe I wanted to send someone. I just attach it to there and send off the message to them. Okay? Okay, I want to go over how conversations work in Gmail. This is another confusing thing for people that haven't used this service in the past. So a good example of how conversations look is this set of emails over here. So a conversation is any response that was sent by one party or yourself to the same subject line, same email with the same subject line in it. So as long as the subject line has not been altered, which is the most, usually the case for 99% of emails that we're sending back and forth in a series, Gmail's smart enough to go ahead and it will stack them like this for us. And this is nice because if I have a conversation, and I do this a lot with customers, we're going back and forth, and they're talking about viruses on their computer and when they want me to come on by, and we have 10 emails that went between us. I can just click on it and see a brief history of everything that was talked about. Or I can go ahead and expand whichever one I want to take a further look at, and it's all logically shown in a single screen, and I can scroll from oldest to newest. Unlike the old way of doing it, which was every single message one after another, I would have to click on it. Oh, that's not the one I want. Go back. Maybe it's this one. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. And we're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So much time loss, so much unnecessary clicking. So Gmail changed that, and now everything is grouped as long as it's part of the same subject in what's called one large conversation.
And it has to be a reply that you've made.
It has to be a reply that was made to the same subject line. Yes, that's how it works. If the subject gets changed and you modify it, it's considered a new conversation at that point. So that's all it's looking at is the subject line. It's very simple to also print this if I wanted to, or forward the entire thing. If I had 20 messages and I didn't want to click on each one to expand it, I could just click on well, now it's collapsed since I expanded them all, but I could do expand all or collapse all.
Can you forward all?
You can forward all as well. So if I go ahead and I click on this more option up here, and I go down to forward all, I can now forward the entire conversation, and there it is, oldest to newest. So some people think that you can't forward a conversation. Indeed, you definitely can. And it takes one click. Well, 2 clicks. Click on more, click on forward all. This mute button over here, if there's a conversation you're part of, you're planning a family reunion and everyone is blah, blah, blah. Everyone's responding to one another. You don't want to listen to it. You don't want to see when the new messages come in. You can actually put this on mute, and any new messages that come in for that conversation, you're not going to get notified about it. So it's a nice way to sort of turn down the volume a little bit on those email threads that you don't want to be a part of, but you don't want to be rude about. So that's the mute button for yourself. You can go ahead and add a star to it, and a star is this little item over here. It's a little hard to see right now. And actually, Lynn, I'm going to turn off the big lights. Can we turn off the big lights? Because it might be... There we go. Now everyone can see nicely. This projector is so bright that it just needs that light turned off. So you can star a message. So a star is sort of a way of putting a post-it note on an email in your inbox, so you can go back and find those messages really quickly. So if I put a star on this message and I put it away, I archive it, and I want to come back later, a year later, and I say, hey, I remember putting a star on that, I can go on the left-hand side here and hit where it says starred, and I can find those messages that were starred. And I can put different stars on things, so by default you can change, well, there's only one star by default, but you can turn on in the settings area, you can turn on all kinds of stars and exclamation points. So I actually use it for my work email, and I have exclamation points for emergency items I gotta do in the same day. I have stars that I use for things that are important, but I don't need to worry about it in the same day. So it's a nice, easy way to keep things organized without having to use too many different labels for yourself. So that's just a neat little trick that you can use. I'm gonna go back in this conversation here. To see if there's anything else I missed. There's a little task functionality within Gmail. So if I go ahead and click on this button upper left-hand corner here and I go to tasks, there is a little task list that I can make for myself. And I can add tasks on here, and if I finish something, I can do that and check mark it off. If I wanted to add an email as a task, and sometimes people want to do that, if I do add to tasks, there you go. It'll add it as a task for you to do it or go back to it. And then if you click on related email, it'll take you back to the message that you were at. Well, here's a better test. Click on related email. There it is. That was a task I made from the email. Hey, remember to pick up meat for dinner tonight. Add it as a task, and I can go back to it.
Where did you make it a task?
I had to hit on this little more button up here. And then I went to add to tasks. And then it'll add it in as a line item, and it'll just take the subject line of the email and pop it in as the subject of the task for yourself. And if I finish the task, check mark it. If I want it off my task list, just put your cursor inside, hit the trash can, and it'll get rid of it. Pop, 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 pop. Task's all done. It was a good day. Right over here. So here's a task, here's a task. These little check marks here. See my mouse cursor?
Yeah.
Just hit it in there, and it gets marked as completed,
Okay.
and it scratches it out for you.
Okay.
And if you truly don't want to see it anymore, then just put your mouse cursor in there and hit the trash can at the bottom, and there you go. Pop, pop, and it's done. Nice and clean. And if you don't want your task list window open anymore, just close out of it by hitting this little X. Or you can even, if you want to have it, if you use dual screens at home or 3 screens, you can do this pop-out feature, and you can pop it out onto another monitor for yourself. So you can have a monitor and have your tasks up on that monitor. You know, again, if that's something that you're interested in. If you just want to just close it out for yourself, and you can always get back to it on the upper left-hand side. Go to Gmail, Tasks, and it'll come back for you. Okay?
Well, it's a good size. It's not taking up.
It's very nice, and actually you can go, and it's nice because you can open it, and you can make tasks for yourself. And it'll stay open as you're within different parts of your inbox. I can maybe make a new message, and it'll actually put them to the side. So if I'm writing a message based on a task, it's not like it hides it on me. So it makes it nice and modular, and it moves it depending on what's on the screen right now. Okay? All right. Okay, so I went over, does everyone understand now what conversations are? They're just groups of emails based on the same subject. So if we're talking to someone or groups of people, we're not creating a bloated inbox, we just have one line item that we have to reference for whatever it was that was being discussed. So again, it makes the experience a lot cleaner, a lot more slim compared to having 20 line items for, one goofy response that someone might be sending to a message for you. Okay? If I wanted to delete a message for myself, I have a few options that I can do. If I wanted to just delete a message that I'm within now, so I clicked on this email and I wanted to get rid of it, there is a big button at the top of the message, the top of the screen, that is for delete. It'll just put it in the trash can for you. If I wanted to mark it as spam, so sometimes you do get spam messages. Gmail's good, but it's not perfect. So just go ahead and hit the spam button. It'll mark it as spam for you. Or also you have an option to archive. Now the archive button, all it is it puts it, so if you think of Gmail, your Gmail inbox or your account as a big bucket, it just tosses into the bucket at the bottom into like a general pool of emails. So all email within your Gmail account is in this big bucket, and archiving it just tosses it in there without any kind of label or out of your inbox or away from the trash can. It's just a general dumping ground for email messages. You can archive it, it'll still be there, you can still search for it, or you can go to the all mail area, which is under more, and you can find it within there. So archiving is a nice way to put something away that you don't necessarily have a label for, you don't want to make a label for yourself.
Or someone has sent you an attachment.
Okay.
How do you know?
How do I know? Good question. Let's see, do I have any email? Well, let me do this. I'm going to send myself an email, and I'm going to put an attachment on it so I can show you how it looks. Okay. Did I spell it wrong? I'm looking at the screen while typing. I got to look at my keyboard. Okay. We'll just call it test. Blah, blah, blah. And let's attach... they're just talking about the new Google Drive functionality that's on there. So I just want to attach this text file, open. I'm going to send it to myself. Remember, it shows at the bottom. Any attachments that you're sending show at the bottom. Now, the one thing I don't like about the new interface, this is one thing that really gripes me about the new Gmail look. If you have a long email that you're responding to and you're attaching something, let me show you what happens here. Maybe it'll do it, maybe it won't. Oh, it probably should. Look what happens if I attach something.
There's no room.
Let me make it a little bit bigger. The attachment actually gets pulled off the screen. So I don't necessarily see it. On the old interface, you always saw at a glance what attachments you had. With the new Gmail interface, for whatever reason, I've complained to Google about this. I'm hoping they listen. So just be mindful. If you have a long email, you attach something, you're not going to see that attachment item. You have to actually scroll to the bottom to check and see what attachments are there, and if it's something that you actually want to attach and send off to the person.
So they put it at the bottom versus the top, like most people?
It's at the bottom, yes. Yep.
Okay, because the other ones are always right away.
Yes, so Yahoo I know is at the top, AOL I believe is at the top, Gmail puts it at the bottom, and it's one gripe that I have. It's one of the things that really irks me about it. So I'm just warning you so you know. So if you're saying, hey, where'd my attachment go? It's all the way at the bottom. And if it's a long one, you're scrolling all the way down. So let me send that off to myself. There's the email. And if there's attachment on it, very simple. There's an icon. There's a little paperclip icon there for you. Okay?
Where?
Right over next to the timestamp.
Right there.
Oh, I
It's a
see.
paper
Yep.
clip.
Okay.
See that there?
Mm-hmm.
Right over there.
So you have to click on that.
Yep, so now that I know there's attachment on it, I can click on it, and if I go down to the bottom, I can go ahead and I can open this message, so I can download it, or I can view it. Most of the time when I'm just looking at attachments, I just like to view it. It's very nice because you don't have to wait for it to download. Viewing it allows you to just preview what's in the attachment and get whatever information you're looking for. Now, of course, if you want to keep it, you're going to click on download so you can save it to your computer. But again, Gmail allows you to view most things. Pictures, Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, text files, almost anything that doesn't require to be run right off your desktop screen. Okay?
I forgot where the forward all is.
Oh, forward all is in the More button
Is
up
in
here.
More. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank
Click
you.
on More. And since it's only one message, it doesn't show. But if I go back to this message and I go to more, forward all is all at the bottom. And it'll say forward a conversation. If I didn't like it like that, I could delete that out of there and sort of edit that for myself a little bit. But it does have everything that was discussed in this email.
Derek?
Yes?
I have a question, and it's probably a personal preference with archiving versus deleting messages. Do you kind of have a rule of thumb? Because sometimes I delete something, you know, work-related, and I'm like, oh, I should have archived it.
Well, here's something to remember. I mean, if it's something you're probably not going to go back to, I don't want to keep everything. I mean, you're just going to look like a junkyard after some point. Even though they give you a lot of space, I don't recommend keeping everything. I delete most coupon emails or newsletters that come in, so that kind of stuff goes away. If it's work-related, there's no real harm in archiving it. It's not real, you know, there's no big deal. You have a lot of space that you can use for the service. So if it's something, here's the rule of thumb. If it's something you might need in the future, go ahead and archive it or move it into a label for yourself. There's no harm in doing so. It's not like you're going to run into your storage cap anytime soon.
And then, is there on the left-hand side, is there an archive button, or where would I find my archived email?
Your archived email, so there's two ways. You can search for your archived email, which I like to do, or if you're someone that likes to do the hunt and peck approach, if you go ahead and expand your more item on the left-hand side here, on the left-hand menu, you click on more and you click on all mail. All mail is everything that has ever touched your account that has not been deleted.
Okay.
So you can go into all mail and it'll show you all of your sent items, all of your drafts. It is pretty much the history of everything that happened in your account. So those are the two places that you can find it for yourself.
Thanks.
Okay?
And how would you search for?
Searching, I'm going to get to that in just a second. So I'll show everyone searching. I'm going to show everyone the drafts area. Drafts is very neat. I should have added it as a line item on the agenda, but drafts in Gmail is probably one of the best draft systems on the internet today. If you start making an email message, as long as you've typed something into that email and you click out of it once, it's going to get saved as a draft item instantaneously. There's no save. Not like Outlook where you have to go to File Save or click on the Save button. Gmail is so smart that it thinks that you're probably going to want that draft when you go back. So it saves it for you regardless. If I went away, logged out, came back, and I came to my drafts area, there it is, the one I just started working on. So you don't have to worry about losing those drafts. The only way you're going to get rid of a draft is if you go ahead and delete it yourself. But Gmail will store an indefinite number of drafts for you for things that you started to be working on, or you were working on some and the power went out and you're almost going to lose that letter you were sending to Aunt Betsy. The drafts area is very neat. I use it all the time. And remember, there's nothing you have to do to force a save. It does it automatically. And actually, when you start typing into the message, it'll tell you right next to the trash can that it was saved. See, there you go, saved. Start typing in, not saved, not saved. Wait, saving, saved. Almost instantaneous. It's almost lightning speed. So it's very nice. Click out of it, and I can go back, and I will be exactly where I was when I started. So very neat. Most email services don't have that kind of advanced draft functionality.
What are those symbols up at the top?
Which symbols?
Oh, they're down at the bottom now.
Here?
Within the black.
This here?
Yeah.
This was a message that I started working on, but I accidentally hit this minimize button. So you can have things open. I can be working on multiple messages and say, hey, my attention was taken off by someone that called. I can minimize it, and I can have them sitting at the bottom here. And, you know, things that I just want to go back to very quickly.
And then the arrow.
The arrows, if I wanted to pop it out, I wanted to write like a more traditional Outlook, a separate window for myself. Really, only time I would use that is if I had more than one screen and I was moving it off to a screen while researching on another. It's really the only useful item for popping it out. But you can still do so if you want to. And if you want to pop it back in, little pop back in button, boom. And it should go back right here for us. Okay? So it's just nice. I'm showing you is, you know, what you can do in terms of having multiple messages open that you're working on. I started a new message for myself. My old one went ahead and it got minimized to the bottom over here, so I can quickly go back to it if I have to. Someone called, I'm on the phone with someone, I got to send an urgent email. Go ahead and do so, and I can go back to my other message and start working on it right away.
Okay.
So again, it's very flexible, very functional. There's multiple ways to do any given task in here. I'm showing you 1 or 2 ways. There's probably more that you can do. Okay?
Where did the delete word go?
This here? Discard?
No, that's discard.
Well, remember, this changes depending on what's going on the screen. So if I'm reading a message that was sent or received, that's a draft. Let me go back in the inbox. So if I want to delete a message, if I'm within here, this area is going to change compared to if I'm making a new email message and I'm within here. So this does change depending on the context of where you're at within Gmail.
Okay.
So you will see different buttons depending on what you're in at the current time. Go ahead, yes.
If I read an article that I like,
yes,
how can I attach it onto an email?
Like a news article on the web?
Yeah, like something that's on the web. Can I attach that to?
The easiest way to go about doing that is usually to copy the link for the article in, or you can, or if you just want to copy like a paragraph or a few paragraphs out of the article, or copy most of it. Because sometimes, depending on how the news pages are formatted, it gets goofy when they put advertisements in their pages, so that's why I don't always say you don't want to always copy everything out of a news article. You want to be careful what you're copying, because advertisements and things, they throw off the way the email's going to look. So, but it's very simple. I wanted to go and copy a simple news article for myself. Let me go over to Google News really quickly, and I'll click on this article here. And if you're doing a copy and paste, rule of thumb, you're not going to start your copy from the upper left-hand corner and copy everything, because this is not going to come out properly. This is good on a web page. It's not meant to be put into an email. This is where I would do my copy-paste, the meat of my article. If you copy this, so Control-C now, and if I paste this in, it should come out pretty clean for me. So that's my rule of thumb for putting a news article into an email for you. I mean, generally, the way I do when I send news articles off, I put the link to the article, and the link is this item up here, the address of the article. I just copy that and put it into the email for someone. Okay. Hey, click on this. You can see the article how it's meant to be viewed. That's the link, yes. Okay? All right. Let's keep moving here. We got a lot to cover in the next hour or less. Searching for messages. I'm going to show searching, and then I'm going to show off labels really quickly. So searching for emails, if I wanted to find something within my inbox or anywhere within my Gmail account, I can very simply just start typing in what I remember being in that article, maybe or in that email. If it was either a person that I sent the email to, so a lot of my searches are the name of the person that I'm looking for, so Lindsay or Carolyn or Michael, or you can put in a word that was within the email. So for example, I'm going to do a search for soup, since I have an email here that I sent to myself asking how much soup did you buy. So I'm going to do a search here, just type in soup like I was doing a Google search, and it'll find any email, newest to oldest, that has the word soup in it. And it's even nicer because it'll highlight where soup shows up in there. So contextually, if I was looking for a particular message based upon that word, I'll see exactly if that was what I was trying to find or not. Now again, the basic search functionality only goes so far. So lo and behold, Google put in a nice feature where you can use this drop down called Show Search Options. And if I click on that, now this is the big kahuna in terms of search functionality. This is where you can really get creative. I can go ahead and I can find a message that came in from Lindsay that had the subject of something that I was talking to her about, or I can change it to where I can say it has the word soup in it, but it doesn't have something else. So I can do a if not sort of search for myself. I can specify whether or not the email had an attachment, and I can also do a date span for how old the email is. Was it roughly 6 months ago, 1 year ago, or you can put in a custom date for yourself if you want to. So this is the advanced search functionality, and I can also say, hey, I only want to sort through or search through my sent email. It was something that I sent out, but it was nothing that she sent me, so I only want to search my sent email. So you can get really creative here with these search items for yourself. So let's see, if I do a search for has the word soup, and I click on, has the word soup, so click on this big search thing. So that was a message I received. It wasn't one that I sent. So instead, I'm going to do... Oh, I was searching sent mail. I'm going to do all mail has the word soup. And we'll do a search. And there it is. There's my email with soup, and it's telling me it's got soup in it because it's highlighting it for in yellow for me. So it's very nice. I use this functionality as well to find emails with attachments within there. This is a little power user trick that you might not remember, but if you watch the video again, you'll catch this. If I wanted to search for an email that had an attachment, a PDF file or a Word file in it, if you know the attachment format, so if it's a PDF, I could say it was a message that went, it came from Lindsay, and it had a PDF file. I don't remember what it was called, but I remember it had a PDF. I could do a wildcard, which is a star.pdf, and it'll show me all emails from that person that had a PDF attached. Or all emails I sent to my colleagues at work that had a Word document attached. And then I can see really quickly all those emails and pinpoint exactly which one I'm looking for.
If you're starting the search, where do you get it?
Right in the Google line.
If you're starting it,
Yeah.
I can either do a quick search by just typing in what I'm searching for, or hit the little down arrow here and bring up the big search area for yourself. The powerful one, most of the time you can just use the basic search. About 80% of the time I'm just typing in items here, doing combinations of words, trying to find what I'm looking for. But if you want to get really nitty gritty, bring down the search area here and specify exactly what you're looking for. Okay? Trust me, it's a lot faster, a lot easier than searching or filtering through something manually, the hunt and peck approach. It's really just not effective for such a powerful service like Gmail. But you can if you want to. It is an option. You got your page buttons here. You can sort through and scroll through things if you have that kind of time. Now let me show everyone labels. So labels is the alternative to folders. So we know folders. We use them on our computer to store documents. We use folders in all the other email services. It's a way of taking email, putting it into a filing cabinet. So email within Gmail is a little different because it doesn't believe in having an email only in one single folder or drawer within my filing cabinet. The way Gmail does it is it actually uses what's called labels, and labels are nothing more than bona fide post-it notes. So a label that I have on here, so this actually has two labels on it. Your inbox is actually a label. Your email that's in your inbox, main area of your inbox, has been put with a post-it note called inbox. If you took off the inbox label, that message would go into archive. It would be in the dumping ground of your account. So it's sort of a little different way of thinking about email when it comes to Gmail. I went ahead and I made a label called work and I attached it to here. So my email is in the inbox, but it's also got the label work on it. If I wanted to, I could attach more labels to it. So this is nice because there are times when there's something that's related to work, that might be related to a friend, that might be related to a label that was for a particular year. You might have made a label for 2012 or 2013. You can put multiple different post-it notes on it, just like in real life. You can put multiple post-it notes on folders, on pieces of paper for yourself. So Gmail lets you do that. So let's say, for example, I wanted to go ahead and make a new label. This was related to a project. Okay, it's related to work, but I also wanted to make a label called, I'll make a label called projects. So if I go into, if I'm within the email and I click on the labels area up here, if I don't have a label made for myself, I can go ahead and create a new label. So I'm going to just click on create new. I'm going to call it projects. And I can also go ahead and nest it. Now nesting is no more than making a subfolder. So if I wanted to make projects a sub of work, I can choose nest, and I can choose make it a nest of work. So it'll show up as a sub item of work. Now I don't want to do that. I want to make it a top level label. So take that option off. I'll name it projects, click on create, and there we go. So now this email is tagged with the label projects and work, both items. What's nice about that? If I go into my projects label on the left hand side, I'll find it. And if I go into my work label, I'll find it. So it's going to show up in both places for me. So it's a nice way of not thinking of everything as having to be in one single filing cabinet drawer. Now we have a way of putting multiple different mental post-it notes on emails depending on contextual situations and what these items are related to. If I wanted to take a label off of it, maybe it wasn't related to projects, click on the X right within the label and it'll remove it for you. If I don't want the work label, click on the X and there it is. Now the item went away because I am in the label called work. There's nothing in the work label anymore, so it's blank now. So if I went into the inbox again, my email that I was working on is this one right over here. So it gets tossed back in our inbox. If I take off the inbox label and it's attached to nothing, it won't show up in there, but if I go into all mail, that message will be right here. It's an archived item at that point. Things in your trash can, in your deleted items. Let me go ahead, I'm going to delete, let's see what we have in our trash can here. Let's go into our trash. And I have three things, 3 starter messages that Gmail put in my account when I made the account. So these items actually have the trash label. If I take off the trash label, it'll become an archived item again. So remember, everything in Gmail is in one big bucket. It just matters what kind of post-it note is on that email. That's how we got to think about things in Gmail. Okay? And if I wanted to add colors to my labels, you can get creative. If on the left-hand side, if I wanted to make a new color for the personal label, you can click on the little down arrow next to it. And at the top, there's label colors. You can do custom colors. You can use a default color. I'll change this to white text, blue outline, and there we go. Anything with a personal tag will show up with that color. A lot of people are used to Outlook, the color schemes they used to have in there. This is very similar. You can attach colors to your label so you can visually see, what these items are that you're organizing and see where they are, where they sit in your inbox at any given time.
So
okay?
Derek, you said about you can put it in trash,
Mm-hmm.
then you can get it again?
Yeah, if anything that I trash.
What if you don't want to ever get it again?
If you want to delete it forever, all you have to do is go into, or you can mass select your messages in your inbox like this, and I can do delete forever.
Okay.
Yep. Get rid of it forever. So Gmail is good. It's just like everything else. You have a recycle bin in your computer. If you put an email into your trash can, you have 30 days to get it back. Okay? So it actually does empty itself automatically. So 30 days. So I work with a lot of people that think of trash can as a filing cabinet. You might not want to do that with this trash can because it's going to be gone by the time you want to get back to it. So that's something I want to warn everyone about. 30 days since the message came in there, 30 days forward, it's going to be gone on the 31st day for you.
Well, that's good.
Okay? So it does its own house cleaning, okay? You won't have to hire a nanny for it. All right. Let's keep going. Any questions on labels, organizing, searching? Because I'm going to keep zooming on here, okay? Managing contacts. I showed off a little bit about contacts previously, but let's go into our full-blown contacts area within Gmail. So the upper left-hand side, I'm going to click on the big Gmail button. It actually has Gmail written on it, and I'm going to click on Contacts now. When I go within here, so it's gonna dump me right into the My Contacts area. And a distinction that we have to make is that there are 2 pseudo address books in our contacts area. We have our My Contacts, which is are the people that you specifically added to your address book, and then we have what's called the Other Contacts. Other contacts are, Joe Schmo, I emailed one off because I wanted a window quote, but I never want to talk to him again. His email got saved in here as an other contact. If you use Outlook, it's called frequent contacts. Same sort of mentality goes along with this.
And everyone who calls you is going who writes you is going to be...
No, not everyone who writes you. Anyone that you email out. So if you respond to the person, they will get added into the other contacts. If you don't like that, you can turn it off in the settings area, and I'll show that a little bit later on. I personally turn that off because I don't like them adding in every single person that I may happen to email down the road. But it doesn't bloat anything. It doesn't use up your storage space. It's just a personal preference at that point. Okay? But I would, if you ever think that you might email someone and try to find that person 3 years down the road, may not be a bad idea to leave that feature turned on so you can get that address again if you need to find it for yourself. Okay, so the basics of the contacts area. The interface is very similar to how Gmail looks. Again, we're not here to reinvent the wheel. We're here to use the same concepts used in the main inbox and apply them to our contact screen. So very simply, if I wanted to make a new contact for myself, well, just like making a new email message, we're going to click on New Contact. Click on that up there, and now it's going to ask us to fill out the information for the person. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the name for the person. I'm going to actually add one of my colleagues at the company, Wesley Howard. As soon as I type his name in, and I'm going to put his email in, I'm going to put his work email in, so I can go ahead and choose what kind of email it is, work or home. It's a work email. I'll type in his address. And as soon as I click out of it, it gets saved. If the person has a Google account profile connected from Google Plus to it, it'll show off on the right-hand side for you. Personal Gmail accounts generally are a little bit better with this functionality. This is a Google Apps work account, so is a little bit more limited. Phone numbers, addresses, the whole 9 yards. You can put in everything that you want into these fields. This is how we keep our company contacts list for all of our customers, so it is very powerful in this way. And if you're coming from a different service, you can also move your contacts from that other service into here. So if you're coming from AOL or if you're coming from Yahoo and you have an address book, you can go ahead and you can do an export from that service. Now again, every service does it differently, so I'm not going to try to explain how they do it. Go into their help area and type in export contacts. You should find how to get that done. But if you have an exported list saved on your computer, you can go ahead and you can do an import in your contacts area. Oh, let me go back into contacts here. And oh, I gotta be over here. Here we go. So if you're in the main area of your contacts, either my contacts or other contacts, I can click on the More button and I can do import. And from here, it's going to ask you, okay, we now need to find that CSV file or vCard file that the other service gave you. Go ahead and choose File. It'll look on your computer. You'll find it wherever you may have placed it, and it'll go ahead and you can import that. And Gmail is pretty forgiving, and it's pretty good with managing the different ways that these services format the file, and it should allow you to import an entire list of whatever, hundreds, thousands, however many contacts you may have, and they can all show up for you in here, so you don't have to manually recreate all those lists for yourself.
Can we put anything in alphabetical order?
That happens, it actually does it by default. It's by default in alphabetical order. Yeah. And if you have more than 50 contacts, I believe, on a screen, you're going to use your left and right buttons here for next and previous. Okay. So you can sort by. If you click on the More button here, if you want to sort by last name or first name, you can choose that for yourself. Right over here.
And you get into your contacts.
Yep, right on the left-hand side. So if I was within my Gmail screen working on email, click on the Gmail button, go to Contacts, and now I'm brought into my contacts area. So as I start editing people, I can go in, I can go edit someone's information, I could put notes in about that person, an important date or phone call or something like that, birthdays, their website that they may have, so all kinds of things. And if it doesn't show up here, I can click on Add, and I can add in all kinds of other things. Another email, another phone number, another note for them, a nickname, phonetic name, company that they work at. Or if that doesn't suit my needs, I can make a custom field and call it whatever I want and add that in. So very, very flexible, very powerful. And what's nice about this, and the reason we use it, is because everyone can go ahead and connect this to their smartphone, and you can pull these contacts in on your phone, and when people call you, you can see who all these people are. I store all my personal contacts in my Google account, and I connect it to my phone. And what's nice about it, think about this. So many people think that keeping one copy of their contacts on their phone is the best place for them. What happens if you lose your phone? What happens to all those contacts? You're going to go find that phone, or the phone that fell in the river, or that fell down the drain. You might not get that back. This is a very simple and easy way to have a copy of all your contacts backed up into your Gmail account. Doesn't cost you a thing. And if you lose your phone, who cares? You have all your contacts still saved.
So you add the phone numbers.
Yeah, the phone numbers into here. So I have it. I added all the contact information. This is where I save all the information about any of my friends, family members, work colleagues, things like that.
How do you do that individually from your phone?
I've been building my list for many years now, so I can do it on my phone or I can do it in my account. For me, it's easier to add it in on the computer. I like sitting down and just typing all the information in it first. But if I want to update it and change it on the fly, I can do it on my phone and in reverse. It's a two-way sync process. So I can sync to my phone, I can sync to my iPad, I can sync to my Windows tablet, I can sync to any other mobile device that I might have. And if I lose it, I don't care because I still have a master copy in my Gmail account. So it's something I highly recommend. So if you don't want to lose all those phone numbers in your cell phone, because you might not think you're going to lose your cell phone at some point, but it's going to happen. Or the phone's going to break, and you're going to be crying. You're going to be out of luck because you're going to say, hey, Derek showed me how to sync my contacts, and I didn't end up doing it. Go ahead, yes.
On the syncing thing, do you export or do you import when you're moving contacts?
So it depends on where you're pulling from. On the old service you're coming from, you're going to export, and then you're going to import into here. So we're taking out from the old service, and we're pulling it in into the Gmail service. So you just have to remember where you're coming from. So you're exporting from the old, importing to the new. Okay?
So you would open up the window more and put import.
Yes, exactly. As long as you're in the contacts area, you can't be within a contact because it won't give you the option. But if I'm within my main contacts area, I click on more, I can import. Or likewise, if you don't like Gmail, you think this is the worst email service ever, you want to leave it, take your contacts with you, you can do so. You can go ahead and export a list of your contacts into a CSV file for yourself, which is basically a spreadsheet with all of your addresses and contact information. You can use that as your baseline for printing out, cards for people or whatever else that you may want to do. But you can come in and you can go out just as easily within Gmail. They don't tie you into the service in any way. You're free to leave with all your information.
So then if you want to export from another, say Yahoo.
Import from another service?
Yes. So then you first import.
So if you were in your old Yahoo service, you would export from Yahoo. It would give you a file on your desktop, and then you're going to come into Gmail. You're going to do an import here, because an import takes the information and sucks it into your new account.
And you can do that with all the. Where do you put the name of the other account?
You're not going to put the name of the account. You're going to actually use the file. So the service is going to spit out a file for you, a .csv. It's going to look like an Excel file on most computers today, and you're going to find it wherever you saved it in your computer. So Yahoo's going to say, hey, save this file on your computer, and Google's going to say, hey, where is that file? Once it gets that CSV, using this import button right over here, and if you click on choose file, it's going to ask you the same way, like attaching a file, it's going to ask you, where is that file? And as long as it's a .csv file and it has context formatted properly, and again, Yahoo exports nicely, AOL I've done before, Comcast I've definitely done before, you can take those contacts, pull them out of there, and import them right through here for yourself. Okay? So very, very simple. And here's also a nice thing. If you had a very messy address book in your old service, and trust me, we move over a lot of companies, a lot of workers that have duplicates of duplicates of duplicates. It's very simple because I can move in a list of 1,000 people with 200 duplicates. All I have to do is click on more, click on the find and merge duplicates. It'll go through, search them all out, tell you what mistakes exist. You can choose which ones you want to get rid of or not, and it'll automatically zap out the ones that are the dupes. One-click duplication fix. Another nice thing that Gmail offers.
How do you sync with the phone?
Syncing with the phone, I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's different for each phone, but generally syncing contacts with the phone is done by adding that account into usually the settings area. So if it's an Android or an iPhone, you're going to go into settings, you're going to go into mail or accounts area, and you're going to add your Gmail account. You don't necessarily have to turn on the email function. You don't have to get email from that account on here, but you'll have an option that says contacts where you can turn it on or off. Turning it on is going to pull the contacts into your phone and have them going both ways between the web account and your phone site for you. Okay? Okay, that's just a general description. The BlackBerry Windows Phone do it a little bit differently, but if you're curious, you can call your cell phone provider and they will walk you through how to go ahead and get a sync process done.
And with your new groups, you can name a group and bring in your contacts into the different groups?
Yes, you can definitely do that. So contact groups is a nice way of making a collection of contacts that belong to a common purpose or a common group of people that you may email. So for example, if I wanted to make myself a new group of contacts, I'm going to make it work colleagues, and I'm going to click OK. So work colleagues now shows up on the left-hand side as a sub-area of my contacts. And if I wanted to place people into that group, I can check mark them right over here, click on this little group icon of people, and put them into work colleagues. Click on apply, and there they are. Lindsay and Wesley are part of my work colleagues. Going a step further though, just like labels allows us to use more than one label for an email, contact groups in Gmail has the same power. I can make another group for myself. I can call it now personal, just for example. Click OK. And if I wanted to add Lindsay over to my personal group, I could do the same thing. She's in my contacts because she's in my address book. She's a work colleague, but I can make her in personal as well. So if I apply it and go into personal, there she is. So it's not like I have to pick and choose where someone's going to sit. I can have them be in multiple groups. Going a step further, if I wanted to send an email to that particular group, this is also neat. Say you're doing, again, going back to my family reunion example. I'm sending I have a work colleagues one. So we're having a work party. I wanted to send an email to everyone at my workplace. If I start typing in the name of that group into an email, click on enter, it's going to put everyone's email right into the line of wherever I want them to be. Maybe I want to BCC all my people in my personal list. It may not. It might be because Lindsay's the only person in that group.
What if
so
you don't remember the name of the group?
If you don't remember the name, again, we're going to click on the title of the line item that we want to add them to. So if I wanted to add them to the to line, I can go in here and search at the top here, right at the drop down. I can look at all my groups that I have available.
Okay, and you clicked on that one.
I can click on work colleagues and pick and choose whichever work colleague I want to add into my email now.
But what did you click on? You clicked on that to button on the other page?
I clicked on this over here, the to, or on BCC, or on CC. All of them are links I can click on and get into my address book from there.
Okay, that's good.
Pick and choose, and it'll add them into that line item
so
for me.
it is there. What I asked before, you said no, it wasn't. It is there.
I guess I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It is there.
Okay. So as simple as that. So very useful. If you have a large family, 30, 40 people, instead of remembering, Aunt Ann and Aunt Betsy and everyone, add them into your group, set up a new email, type in the group name, and you'll have all the hard work done for you. Very, very simple. Very nice and easy to use. And likewise, if I wanted to remove people from my group, let's go back into my contacts area. And say I didn't want Lindsay in my work colleagues area, I can just go ahead and select her and take her out of work colleagues. And it'll remove her and she's all gone. So I can play around with my contact list and do whatever it is that I want to do for myself. And if I wanted to make a group and import a select group of contacts, so say you had a spreadsheet of your entire workplace and you wanted to add all those people in right into work colleagues, if I go into the more area and I go into import, and I choose my file, it'll give me an option to go ahead and put all those people into work colleagues directly. So you can put people, mass groups of people, mass address lists into particular groups for yourself. Okay? All right. So that is...
Now, how did you get to... Go back and show me how you got the contacts.
Oh, to get into contacts? So say I'm within my main area of my...
Yeah.
Nope, I didn't hit on Compose. I hit on the button above it. It doesn't look like a button, but it's a drop-down menu. If I hit that, I can get into contacts right from there.
All right, got it.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I can go back and forth between the two.
What's that little square, little box that's to the left of the group that was up there before we needed it?
Under contacts?
Yeah, that second box there to the right.
This here?
Yeah.
So this over here is another, again, Google allows you to do everything at least 2 or 3 ways. This is another way to add someone very quickly into your contact list. If you click on this and add in their email address, jack@yahoo.com, type it in, click on add, and it'll add them straight into your contact list right from there. It's the fastest way you can add a new contact for yourself. So that's if you don't care about adding a name for the person, you just want to get their email address right into your contact address book. And if you want to add them to a group, it's the icon with the 3 people on it. Yep. Okay. If I wanted to send a message to someone, if I'm in my address book and I want to send Lindsay an email without going out of here, going to compose a new message, I can simply click on her name or click on multiple people's names, and I can send an email to everyone at once. So again, you have multiple different ways to do any given task within Gmail. You just have to poke around a little bit for yourself. And again, I showed off the more area for us over here. There's not much more within there. And also you can print your contacts list. Some people have asked me about this before. This didn't always used to exist. If I wanted to print out all these people, it'll ask me which ones I want to print. Click on print, and this will allow me to print a list of all my contact details for everyone. So this is this Jack person, this is Lindsay's contact entry, this is Wesley's and all their details within here. So some people like to have a hard copy of all the people that they correspond with as a quick reference. You can print them out for yourself if you really have to.
How did you start with that? How did you do that?
To print? To print?
Yeah.
I went over here and I clicked on more,
Okay.
and I went to print.
I got you.
Okay?
Yeah.
And what I did is I selected the ones I wanted, but you can still you can just click on here, click on more, click on print, and I can just select which particular groups I wanted. So if I just wanted my work colleagues or my family members out of personal, I could select my group and it'll only pull those people. And Lindsay's the only person in my family group, personal group, and that's the only one that showed on here. And if I printed this out, it would come out nice and clean on a piece of paper for me. Okay? All right. Moving forward. Okay. Lindsay, are you signed in on that account right now? Can you try sending me a message? I want to show everyone how chat works within here. So I have chat on the right-hand side for myself. You might have yours show up on the left-hand side by default. Most accounts have it over here. I prefer to put it on the right-hand side. And I'll show you in the settings area how to do that if you prefer that too. But this is the chat area. So again, the Gmail service allows you to chat with anybody that has a Gmail account and anybody that has a Google Apps for Work account, which is Gmail for Business or Gmail for Education, things like that. If you email a person one time, and converse with them, I believe an email and an email back, it'll automatically add them within here. Or if they try to message you, it'll go ahead and add them to your contact list over here. And it's very nice because you can go ahead and set, if you're online, you can go ahead and snooze yourself. If you've ever used AOL Instant Messenger, it's sort of like that. Since we all use Gmail for Business at our workplace, me and Wes and Lindsay, we're always chatting on this service because it's nice and simple and it's easier than picking up the phone and calling someone all the time if I have a simple message for them. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to message Lindsay by clicking on her name. And I actually tried sending her a test a little bit earlier. Test again. Tell me if it's coming through for you. Not seeing it?
No. What is the, what's your email address?
So just FireLogic@gmail.com. I know the text chat's a little bland. I'm going to show you some of the cooler features of why this is neat in just a second. So I'm not going to jip you on this this chat area.
Well, you both have to be on at the same time.
Yes, so the person has to be on in order to see it. I believe if you send a message to someone that's offline, when they come back, it'll show up as a line item for them, as a message that was sent while you were away. I get that sometimes from colleagues messaging me after hours, things like that. How's it looking, Lindsay?
So is it just like when you write to Dell and do a chat with them?
It's similar, but it's integrated in that you can search for all your chats that you've ever done.
Oh.
They'll all show up in your chat history within here. So the Dell chat or things like that, it's a little different because it doesn't necessarily get saved on your side anywhere. This actually gets saved right into your account. So it's your history gets saved and all of that. So as Lindsay tries to get her side up over there, you can do a video call with someone. So you can do what's called a Google Hangout. So it's going to make a little calling sound. There's my picture that's showing over here. So Google Hangouts is nice. It's like Skype. I think it's a little cooler than Skype because with Skype, I believe you can only do a video chat between 2 people without paying for it. This, I believe you can do 10 people at a time without paying for it. 10 people can have a video chat. It's really neat because everyone will show up, and as the person's talking, they'll go into focus over here for us. So it's pretty interesting.
And you need a camera for that, don't you?
No, you can do just straight audio call if you have a headset only and someone doesn't have a video cam. You don't have to do a video call. You can just do a voice call between 2 people or 10 people.
And they all need Gmail.
They all have to have either Gmail or a Google for Work account for themselves. So, but again, if someone doesn't have it and you want to use this, a Gmail account's free. It's not going to cost anyone anything. So, it's pretty interesting. Lindsay's not, having a hard time coming on service, but I'll just describe what the different features on here that you can do. You can go ahead and once you're within what's called a Google Hangout, there will be an option that shows up where you can actually share your screen as well.
See if it just went.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's do this again.
It says you did not receive my chat.
Let's try it.
Offline.
Is it calling you right now? Oh, there we go. She has a webcam, so we should be able to see her as well. So I'll show you how this looks. There we go.
Okay.
There she is. So internet, again, it depends on how good our. There we go. You guys can all see yourselves for a moment. So it's neat. So as more people get started adding onto here, it'll flip through, start changing over the pictures of everyone that's on the screen. Of course, audio is built right into it, and you can also share your desktop through here. Let me see if the share desktop feature is on here. This is nice because if you're doing a meeting, you want to show something on your screen, you can go ahead and do so. I might have to be on the Google, so it's going to tell me to upgrade to Google+. Google+ is the Facebook alternative that you have to have your account connected to for this to work. So it may not give me the option. To go ahead and share my desktop. But if you do enroll yourself in the Google+, you can go ahead and share desktop. You can go ahead and have a whiteboard, I believe. You can have like a digital whiteboard everyone can draw on. So it's pretty neat. I think it goes above and beyond what regular Skype offers these days. And the quality, I think, is a little bit better too. Skype gets a little choppy sometimes, but Google Hangouts are pretty crisp. And the way that it figures out how fast your internet is, depending on and based upon the quality you're getting, it's pretty darn good. It does a fairly decent job. So even if someone's on really bad internet, wherever they are, you should still see a pretty good outline and a pretty decent, as you can see me moving my arms over here, a pretty decent job at giving us, completely free video conferencing capability. And again, this is a cheaper way to call someone across the world because as long as they have a Gmail account, you can talk to them free of charge, just like Skype. No reason to waste all those expensive international minutes. Tell them to get on the computer if they have one and do a Google Hangout with them. It's pretty nice, and you can see the person as well, which you can't do over the phone. Okay?
Question.
Yes?
What was that upgrade to Google?
Upgrade to Google+.
It's Plus, okay.
And actually, when you make your Gmail account, they're going to ask you to join it right away when you're making it. So it's not like you have to go out of your way. I didn't do that by default, so that's why I wasn't on the Google Plus right away. Since this is just a test account I wanted to make.
So do they charge you for the Plus?
Why what? Why?
Why do Google Plus?
The only reason you wouldn't want to do Google Plus is if you don't want your name showing in. It's like the alternative to Facebook. So you would be.
Okay.
They could search for you at the very least. You can control your security settings, but people could ideally, if they knew your name, they could find you on the Google Plus service.
Thank you.
They're not going to find details about you. You have to open up those settings for it to show all those details. But the very basic functionality has to be tied into Google Plus for those things to work.
So when you create an account and you join, you can say, no, I don't want to do that?
Yes, there'll be an option, something along the lines of you're going to uncheck and join Google Plus during the sign-up process.
So you could do that later?
You can always sign up for Google Plus later on. When I was in the chat with Lindsay just now, it had a big red button that said upgrade to Google Plus to get up to 10 people in your video call. Once you do that, it'll convert the account really quick, and then you'll have the full power of the video conferencing for yourself.
Do you get a regular picture on regular Google?
What do you mean, do you get a regular?
A video.
On this right now? Yeah, what we're just doing is actually the non-Google Plus version of video chat. So it just limits you to 2 people at a time. If I upgrade to Google Plus, I can do the 10-person group hangout with everyone. Okay?
Do they charge you anything for that?
No, completely free. This all, everything I'm showing you here today is free. No cost. Okay? And what's also nice, I could call phones with this as well. If I went ahead and typed a phone number in here, the only time they charge you is if you made a phone call to a country outside of the US or Canada. If you were calling or making a phone call to a landline or a cell phone in another country, whatever the number may be, you do have to add credits on your account to make the call. But compared to traditional AT&T service, it's very, very cheap. Trust me. You can see the rates when you get home. You can search for what those rates are. But they're very cost effective for making calls compared to any.
2 cents to Germany, for example.
2 cents to Germany? Have you checked it?
The landline is 2 cents a minute.
Okay. Yeah, they're very, very cheap.
10 cents for cell phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cost effective. Very cheap, comparable or cheaper than what Skype offers for their phone calling service that they have.
So you can just call my cell phone number
Oh,
and
yeah.
talk to me rather than calling me on your cell
Oh,
phone.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. And all calls within the US and Canada are completely free. So they don't charge you a thing for that. You can sit on here for 10 hours with someone down the block and you won't get charged a dime for it.
That's for phone calls. That's
Phone
not
calls.
for-
I'm talking about phone calls right now.
Not the video. The video.
Video's free. Video's free. Text chat is free. The only thing that may cost you, and you won't be able to make a phone call if you don't have credits on the account, but calling internationally to a country, to a landline or cell phone that's not on the free calling list.
Okay.
So that's pretty much outside of US and Canada.
Okay.
Okay? And that's normal because there's no service that offers totally free calls outside of the US or Canada, but the rates they offer are dirt cheap for you. Okay? Last thing I wanted to show about the chat area is if I chat with anybody, I can go ahead and I can find that in my chat history. So if I went ahead and I was having a chat with Lindsay and I wanted to just find this chat message again in the future, if I just type in hello, I should be able to find that chat for myself. Look at that. I can go back and see what we were chatting about. It's useful because sometimes my work colleagues are giving me things that people need to call back, and they're putting them in chat for me, and they put the phone number in there. Even though I asked them not to, I can go in and I can search for the customer's name or whatever it was we were talking about, and I can search for that chat that I was having with the person. And you can see that it's a chat by looking and seeing what this little icon is. It'll show up as a little quotation mark bubble box for you. So the nice part about chat in here, it archives your whole chat history for you. If you don't like that, if you don't like the Big Brother approach to the chat history, I believe you can still go ahead and, let me see if it's still available. There was an option in here before to take it off the record.
Black person?
No, black person, they can't chat with you then. So maybe it's not in here anymore. They used to have a feature called off the record where it wouldn't save the chat history for you. So now it does save all the chat history. Don't know if that's...
What if you never wanted to chat with Lindsay again? You don't want her name to appear.
If I don't like her that much, I can go ahead and I can do settings. Click on the settings gear there and do either delete to take her off my list, or if I totally never wanted to hear from her, do block person, and they can never chat with you again.
But just delete and
delete will take it off the line item. Blocking them will not let them ever chat with you again. That's all permanent.
I never chatted with anybody. I had a bunch of people showing up on the left.
You probably want to just delete those items. Yeah. Yeah. I got some customers that got a hold of my chat account through work, and they think that sending me chats and getting things done is the way to do things. So I had to block a few customers from that as well. So
now do you, when you're calling someone, do you use your phone?
No, you would have to use there's 2 ways. Let me tell everyone this. If you wanted to make a phone call through here, The way I recommend doing it, because it's not going to sound pretty otherwise, get yourself a cheap headset, $10. You can get a headset from Best Buy or Staples or something that goes on your head and has a microphone, because even though most laptops or some desktops have a microphone built in, trust me, it sounds like garbage. It doesn't sound good. All the background noise is picked up. The person has to sit there and you have to talk right into the microphone. It's so much easier to put a headset on and talk with them over a headset. Not only does it sound better for them, it's more convenient for you as opposed to having to, hi, how are you? Sitting up right against your screen. So,
But they pick up their phone.
but they would pick up their phone, yes. So you're going to be on your headset, they're going to be on the phone.
This
If you're
is
doing a
so
video
cool.
chat with them though, both of you, probably a good idea to get a headset, both of you on a headset, unless you have a nice desk microphone for yourself.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you're making phone calls through here and you want it to sound decent, get a headset for yourself. Don't use the built-in microphone. Okay? So Google Hangouts is pretty cool. Everyone glad I showed off that feature? It's one of the neater things within Gmail. Okay. Moving on. Let's go into the settings area really quickly, and then we'll get into Gmail Labs, and we are through. So about another 10 minutes of lecture, and I'm going to open it up to Q&A for everyone, okay? So in order to get into the settings area, again, we're going to go into the settings gear. Upper right-hand corner, there's a big settings gear. It looks like a gear, like a setting icon, so very visual. Go ahead and click on it, and then go ahead and click on settings. And now we have our options to do almost any kind of change to how Gmail works or how things look. And I'm going to just briefly describe some of the main things in each tab. I'm not going to go into every single thing in detail. We'd be here for another 2 hours or so. Okay? So in the general tab, I can adjust the language that everything shows in. If you want an automatic translation to another language, there's about a list of, looks like almost 50 languages on there that you can choose from. This is for if you're doing phone calls within there. You can choose your default country code right here. Other options that we have, we can go ahead. If you don't like Conversation View, this is something people ask me about. They don't like Conversation View. Whatever, if you're used to the old Outlook way of doing things or AOL email, if you can turn it off for yourself, and it'll go ahead and ungroup all those messages and make them a line item for every single email. So that you can definitely turn off for yourself. Moving down, I can turn different stars on for myself. So if I wanted to go ahead and add in the exclamation point that I have on my work account, red star, purple star, there we go, check mark. So you can get really creative, really fancy with everything that you're using. Turn all those on, and as soon as I do that, I can add in, when I click on the star button that I showed you, it'll scroll through all the different star options. So it'll be a yellow star, or it can be a red star, or exclamation mark. So you can, use this to the nth degree for organizing and visually, marking all your messages if you really want to. Scrolling down, the little picture that shows in your chat box, pretty much your account icon, you can change that picture for yourself. It's our company Flame, but you can make it your own picture, whatever you want. Going down. Signature. A lot of people like to have a signature in an email, quote or something. Go ahead and add a signature in. It'll save, and it'll show at the bottom of every email that you send out. Scrolling down, vacation message. Very useful. You go out of town on vacation. I did this when I left on my cruise this last winter. Go ahead and say when you're leaving, when it's ending, and go ahead and put in an auto response, and it'll go ahead. It'll send out a message to everyone that emails you. So you can go ahead and have this bounce a message quickly saying, hey, I'm out of town. I'll get back to your message, come August 20th. I'm on a month-long vacation in Costa Rica, so I'll see you then. What was that?
Rob me.
Yeah, it's a possibility too. So if you're concerned about that, then be careful with what you do. What I like to do with my personal Gmail account, I turn this on. I have it only bounce a message back to everyone in my contacts list. Now, unless I got enemies in my contacts list, which is possible, I'm usually fairly comfortable with people knowing that I'm out of town. So you could say, hey, only bounce back to people that are in my address book, people I trust, people I know. Okay? So that's the general tab. Labels tab, this is pretty much the full-blown area for creating new labels, going ahead and hiding labels from showing on the left-hand side. If I didn't want all these things showing, look how I can click on hide, and I can hide all these different items for myself. So I can pretty much have nothing show besides just my inbox and my drafts. I can even hide drafts and just have inbox showing. So again, very customizable. It would just tuck everything away under the more area for myself. Likewise, turn it all on, have it all show, whatever I want. Very simple, on, off, okay? Inbox tab allows you to change between a few different inbox styles. Right over here at the top. I'm not the biggest fan of some of these. Some people like them. I have seen people use them. You can have where important messages only. It's sort of where Google searches your email and pretty much, you know, looks at keywords and messages and puts those at the top for you. I didn't have much success with it, but some people live and die by it. Unread first, so all new messages, no matter how old they are always going to show at the top for you. Some people like that because they keep unread messages that might be 2 years old at the top of their inbox. You can do that for yourself. Priority inbox is another. I'll show you how it looks. I'll turn it on really quickly. Let's see. It might be a setting I gotta still turn on for that. But a priority inbox is another way to have multiple different sections in your inbox for very important stuff, semi-important stuff, and then like newsletters all the way at the bottom. So you can play with that on your own account. Accounts is where I could I could add in other email addresses that I want to send out email as. Gmail lets you do that. You can go ahead and add in accounts that you want to pull email from. So this is actually how I wean people off of AOL or Comcast or other accounts. We go ahead and we set them up with a Gmail, and I go ahead and I add in their account over here as a pop account, so it'll pull in all new email from their old email account. So they could start using this, but still keep getting messages to their old email address. And when everyone gets the messages, gets their new email address, and they start using their new Gmail account, and no one, you know, you get relatively few emails at your old address, then you can remove this connection for yourself. But to be honest, I just tell people to turn this on and leave it on because you never know when someone might email you from the past to that email account. So you can have this turned on. Gmail will suck the message in, and you can get messages from 5 different accounts within Gmail. So that's what I set up with a lot of customers. AOL moving into here, Yahoo forwarding into here, and everything just being pulled in right through that that option that I showed under the settings area, and that was under settings and accounts. And I did add a POP3 mail account you own. And that supports almost any service in the world because POP3 is the oldest standard used for in terms of checking email these days.
So when something comes in from say one of the Yahoo or
yes.
whatever, then when you reply to it, it comes back. They get it back from Google, right?
No, you can choose. You can choose to set it up so it sends out as Yahoo, or it can send as your new Gmail address. Okay. It's up to you. Mm-hmm. Choice is yours. Okay. Some people like to do that. Some people don't want to keep giving out the old address, and they want to respond as the new email. You know, that's up to you. That's a choice you can make for yourself.
That's all on the settings.
That option is right over here. So if you added. You have to add in that other email address as a send as address up here. When you do that, there will be an option that shows that asks, do you want to reply to messages with the same account that it came to, or do you want to reply with your Gmail account?
Yeah.
Okay? So that's an option that will turn on for you. And it'll show how much storage space you're using at the bottom over here. We're using 0% of 15 gigs. It's going to take you a long time to hit 15 gigs in your Gmail account, trust me. Filters, this is a way, I don't want to get into this because it takes a little bit of show and tell, but this is a way where you can, if you wanted to set up automatic labeling or automatic deleting of messages that you get on a consistent basis, so say a newsletter you just can't unsubscribe from, you can make a filter for yourself that would delete the message as soon as it arrives. Or if you wanted to mark all emails from your work colleagues automatically as the work label for yourself. You could set up a filter. And they're very step-by-step process where it asks you what the criteria is and what do you want to do with the email. So if you've ever used Outlook rules, this is the equivalent of Outlook rules. Okay? If you have more questions about it, shoot me an email after class and I will give you more information on how to set up filters for yourself. Forwarding and POP, not too much in here you want to play with. I would turn this IMAP option on down here if you wanted to use your iPhone or smartphone with the account, because this will allow you to have synchronization of your emails be one-to-one. So you delete something on your phone, it deletes from your email account, and vice versa. It allows for that one-to-one synchronization to happen. If you use this POP functionality, it's not as nice because the phones and the email service don't play as nicely with one another. So if you're going to be using a smartphone or a tablet with your email account, make sure you go into Settings, Forwarding in IMAP/POP, and turn on Enable IMAP. Go ahead and hit Save, and it'll turn that option on for you. Back into Settings, moving ahead. Chat, there's really nothing left in here because chat has really now been taken over by Google Plus Hangouts, so it's really on or off at this point. Not much you can change there. Web Clips is a goofy old option from the oldest days of Gmail that allow you to go ahead and have these little scrolling news feeds show over your email inbox. This is going away very soon, so I wouldn't really worry about this too much. They're going to be turning that feature off. Themes, all the way on the right, allows you to change your color scheme for your email. So there are some pre-made ones. You can just go ahead and blue, wasabi. So there's some neat ones. There are some basic color options here. And all you have to do is click on it to try it. Some are really obnoxious. I wouldn't use them. I like the light default option. But there are some neat ones like pebbles I've seen a lot of people like to use. It's, I guess, nice and calming or whatnot. But again, there we go. There's pebbles. So you can go ahead. You can get really goofy there. I got the little Android logo one. And I believe there's a way where you can even import your own photos. Use your own photos as a background for yourself. So, little Android dudes chopping around at the bottom of the screen there. So again, a lot of choices. Customization is a big thing about Google. They love giving you a lot of options for how you want to do things. Offline allows you to install a little plugin for your web browser, and you can actually read your emails on a plane or somewhere on your computer where you don't have internet. So if you're going on a long flight, only real place I would see this in use is if you're going out in the countryside where you don't have internet, or if you're going on a plane, you just have to be able to look at all your old messages. You can turn this on, and it'll let you go through and search your inbox as if you had internet turned on at the current time. So it replicates what Outlook does with pulling email into your computer, but you're technically within a web browser. So it's the best of both worlds. So this is really nice for working professionals that need access 24/7, no matter if email's turned or internet is turned off for them. Okay? And really quickly, I want to show labs. So labs is the thing I put all the way at the bottom of the agenda. Labs are experimental features that Google is testing out, but they're not ready for prime time yet. Some things may be broken, they may not work 100%, but they're neat little tweaks and gadgets that you might want to turn on just to give them a try. You can turn them on, you can turn them off. And for example, I have a few that I've turned on already. There's about 30 at any given time or more. And there are ones being added. There's sometimes removed if they just didn't work too well. But actually, right side chat is a lab I turned on for myself. So by default, chat is on the left-hand side. I don't like it there because it gets pushed down too far. I like chat being out in the open. So I turned on the label called right side chat that brought my chat functionality to the right-hand side. That's a label. I can turn it off at any time. Another neat label that I use in my work email a lot is undo send. How many times have you sent out a message and 5 seconds, 10 seconds after you sent it, you're like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to say that to that person. Or I forgot the attachment. More of the time it's, I forgot the attachment I was meaning to attach to the email. You can turn on undo send and it'll allow you for up to 10 seconds, up to 30 seconds I believe, to take the message back. So all it does, it doesn't really take it back across the internet. All it does is put it in hold and say, wait 10 seconds till your mind clears, or till you remember that you forgot the attachment, and then you can come back, take it back, and put the whatever it is you were trying to fix on the email, okay? So there's all kinds of neat stuff in here. I'm not going to go over through each one. You can turn these on, turn them off. There's some other neat ones in here. There's one for Flickr previews. If someone sends you a link to a Flickr collection, you can have previews of the photos show. You can go ahead and have your Google Calendar show up in the left-hand or right-hand side. You can go ahead and have, there are some goofy ones in here for extra emoticons or preview pane. This is the one I wanted to show everyone really quickly. People that are coming from the Outlook or Outlook Express that are used to that split screen look, if you turn on preview pane, a little button shows up on the right hand side, top of your email, and if I go ahead and click on the arrow down on the option, I can do vertical split, so more traditional or modern Outlook view, or I can do horizontal split, more of the Outlook Express, old Windows XP days sort of view for myself. If you like that, turn it on. If you don't, just go ahead, do no split. You can go back to traditional Gmail. And there's a lot more labs you can play around with. I'm not going to go over all of them. That's up for you to play with on your own time.
What are all of the icons in this box?
Over here, these,
Yeah.
that's my computer. That's my personal computer icons that I have. So this is my office and other things that I'm running right now. Okay?
Thank you, Derrick.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions? I know I was meaning to let everyone out by now, but does anyone?
One question.
Go ahead, yes.
You said something earlier when you registered. I never registered. And you give somebody your email address. What do you allow them to view this whole session again and other sessions?
What do you mean? The class today that we're recording?
Yeah, you said you had a number of classes that you can see at the library that has been taped earlier.
Yes, on the back of the sheet I have a little link that I put for our YouTube channel, and if you type that into the computer, this is where it'll take you. So I'm going to type it in, I'll show you. I already been to it, so it shows up in my address bar.
Yeah.
But if you go to it, it'll look like this, and it'll show you our newest classes all the way to our oldest classes. You can use the little slider here and go back. So our Windows 8 class, our Google Apps, our more Windows 8.
Okay, gotcha.
Over here, Google Sites we did computer and internet safety. All the different classes, and if you click on it, it'll come up just like a regular video, and you can start watching it.
Okay.
And what's nice is you can go to any section that you're interested in, and you
Now
can pause
everything will
it.
be
So there
organized.
was
So
a class
it's
that
a
we did
little
on
bit different than
Google
just
Docs.
dragging and dropping files on your
You don't need
traditional.
to hear my voice anymore. I've talked enough today. You can do that on your own time. Any other questions? Gmail. Everyone better have a Gmail account by the time they get home. I don't want to hear about any more AOL or Comcast email users. There's no reason for it. Yes?
I currently have AT&T.
Okay.
This is far better.
Much better. Yes, I agree.
Then the Apple too?
This is much better than any free email service that I have used, and I've used all of them. Trust me. And what's nice, keep this in mind. If you have an AT&T account or a Comcast account or a Huawei account, when you leave that service, if you move to a different residence or if you change providers, you don't get to keep your address. They're going to take that address away from you. So you're going to lose access to that old email account that you may have had for 10 years if you move from the city to Park Ridge or Park Ridge to Niles and you don't have the same service provider. You are at risk of losing that account. With Gmail, you're not tied to a service provider. You can keep the account for life. It's never going to be taken away from you. So that's something to keep in mind when you're making the decision about using a provider's email account or using an account like Gmail that's not provider specific.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I see a few more questions. Yes. Go.
When I tried to type out something,
Okay.
it's very, very small.
Okay.
Why?
From Gmail?
Good.
It could be your Zoom setting that you have turned on within your browser. There are a few different things that could be causing. It could be a printer setting as well that's turned on, or a specific setting within the internet program that you're using.
If she hits control and then the wheel.
Control and wheel, you can usually turn the zoom up and down for yourself.
The control button and then your wheel.
Or control, or you can hold control and do plus or minus on your keyboard. And that will zoom in, zoom out. So you probably have an issue where your zoom is too small. Your zoom is zoomed out and it's showing it at a very small size.
So what do?
Okay.
Could you just repeat very quickly how you phone from the chat? It's not
To
just
phone?
chat and video, but to phone.
To phone, all we're going to do is we're going to start typing in a phone number of whoever it is. And when you type it in, when you're done typing, so I'm going to type in a fake phone number here.
And that's the chat there?
I can
Or
give you my
what?
phone.
It'll tell you right over here, complete number. Well, my number's
Yeah, but
probably...
where are you in now?
I'm within regular Gmail now. The
And there's
basic.
just,
And it's... so this is probably going to show over here for you on the left-hand side, because I moved my chat window to the right.
Okay, so
It'll
that's the
show
chat
here.
window and you can just put it
You can put a phone number in, it'll have an icon for a telephone show up, and you can launch a phone call for yourself from
We're
there.
gonna have to go.
I would try it. I would try it to yourself first, because if you have microphone issues or something, you probably want to work that out.
I think I need to go into this, all your lessons, and then figure out.
Yeah, go into, if you have more questions about it, go into Google's Help Center. You can go here at the bottom link, type in calling in Gmail, and it'll give you a full step-by-step exactly how to make a phone call.
But this is very nice that it's personalized. It's really great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out. I do appreciate it. Any final questions?
Is that shortcut that where the black line where it says you search?
So this is the universal navigation bar for any service in the Google ecosystem.
Okay.
This will always show. The links might be a little bit different, but this is how you can get to other areas within Google's products. So if I'm within Gmail, I can go into my calendar, into my Drive. I can go to YouTube really quick. It's just a quick launching point, a quick shortcut to get somewhere else within Google's platform.
And then the question about the email groups by conversations.
Yes.
Okay, so we're all talking about soup, and I sent it to 5 people.
Everyone loves soup today.
Well, that was your example.
Yes, go ahead.
Actually, mine was the Blackhawks, and we were going back and forth.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and I sent it to 10 people.
Okay.
Okay. Now I've got other emails that are coming in. All right, and when they respond to me because it says Blackhawks or soup, it's all going to go into that one email, right?
As long as the subject line of the email is not changed.
So how do I know who it's coming from then? If there's 5 people responding to me, their response going to be
like over here. If I
coming to me.
let me see where that message was that I had multiple conversations on. I think it was under all mail. Here we go. It'll show you every single line item. If it's a separate email, it'll show you the person's name. It'll show you their icon and their email address. And if I scroll over their name, it'll tell me all the full detail, their full email address right at a glance, like that.
Okay.
So that's the simplest way that I can show you how to do it.
Okay, so each name will show individually their response.
Exactly. If it's an email
I
that...
saw something that had a name with a number next to it, like when you, in your sample, it had a number 3.
It might have been a junk email I was just testing out or making a junk just for the sake of demonstration.
Derrick 3 or something like that, in parentheses.
It could have been. Could have been, again, just a partial email address I made. I maybe didn't even finish a message that I was making. It was just, I did lists. I went into Compose, and I probably just started typing gobbledygook into the 2, and that's what it came out
So that
as.
3 didn't mean nothing.
And it didn't mean anything, no.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
would that be something like, say, if you have multiple emails?
Oh, that might be it. So this here,
Yes.
that is what you're, okay. So that means that there are 4 emails that make up that conversation. 4 messages.
So that's what I was seeing.
So you got 10, and
so
10
I
people
had,
were
10
so I was
emails
like,
that were
well,
just 10 emails that were
so I
sent.
have to open that from there up to see all the rest of the people.
Once you click on it, the
What
whole
then
is
on that-
Once you click on it, you'll get this kind of interface, and then you can just scroll your mouse over the person's name in the title of the email, whichever email you're looking at, and it'll show them, you know, exactly the full name of the person.
Okay, so go back to where we saw the number again.
Okay.
All right. So let me show you. Now see.
So it is truncated. It is truncated because it will not show if there are 20 people in the conversation. It's not going to show all of them.
Show all of them.
It's going to show the latest people that talked in the conversation.
So
Just
if I had this open and I was walking past, I would know that who the 4. From there, I would know. I'd have to.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
That's where you have to either use some intuition based upon who you knew as part of it, or just go into it and have a look and see who's showing in that list of emails.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm just scratching. Okay, gotcha.
Well, that number is how many email responses.
Yeah. How many messages were in
Not
that?
how many people
Total
are
in that email conversation. Yes.
Well, if it's total and you knew it was 10 and now it says 20, you know 10 more responses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's where I was having trouble. I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
so
did
it's
what's
not
her name
like how
respond?
many people
But
are in the
I didn't
conversation,
think.
it's how many
Yeah, you have to go into the conversation and look at it in more of a vertical view for yourself.
Yeah.
Or
Then I would
even
have
quickly,
It shows total.
remember this expand all button. If you want to see all the messages and read through them again, click expand all, and now you can read through oldest to newest.
Okay, so if I can write that, because each one's going to come back to me as they responded.
Uh-huh.
So is that when I would go into the settings?
That's when you would go into settings,
And then take off that
conversation view.
view. Yeah.
Right over here. Turn it off.
And
And I'll-
then I would get just their response.
Then you would
one
see.
by one.
Then you would see every single one as a separate response.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Okay.
All right, so I wrote it then under settings.
Yep. Settings, and then it's under the general tab.
Settings. And
General tab, and then the option's called conversation view.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Derek, I hate to say.
All right.
I gotta clean up.